Hi love, hello and welcome to Co-Creative Healing Journey. My name is Greta, I am a healer, and this is love and relationship messages where I'm going to be bringing through a message here on YouTube, and then I am going to continue with an intuitive healing over on my Patreon. So if that speaks to you, you can find it there. They've been amazing so far, and I highly recommend it if you're in need of healing, of course. We are starting today the first, or this week, we're starting the departure theme, which I'm defining departure as value-based redirection. Value-based redirection, and very often away from the status quo and how it operates and functions. So the soul messages are out, the life messages are out, and now this. So let's get right to it. We've got an overall energy of Moon in Cancer with belonging. Okay. We have got Moon in Aries, courage, believe in yourself. Wow. We have got Sun in Aries, new beginnings, a leap of faith. This is beautiful, and it really is showing a very interesting dynamic. Overall, what Spirit is saying is that in this new energy that we're stepping into, where we are in a time where there is just a calling for a higher kind of relating, and it's shown here in the belonging. It's a different way of loving, of giving, of sharing, of receiving love. And so within that, we have this energy of the self with Cancer, the self card, and especially self-awareness. So when there's a shift in self-awareness that is more introspective, sensitive, self-connected, self-aware, there's the need for greater belief in the self, a lot more courage, and a lot stronger ability to show up and say, this is who I am, this is what I want, what I need, what I deserve in relationships. I will not settle for less with the Aries energy. I know what I want, I know what I deserve, I know what I'm worth, and that is going to be what I'm going to set forward. Now with the word courage here, for me, that's the heart speaking. Courage is the voice of the heart. So all of those connected then leads to a new beginning, and it's showing up as Aries because it's a new beginning in the self. With a leap of faith, it's like you validate yourself within the context of relationships. And because you're having these new kinds of relationships, you can then experience yourself in a different way. So put into other words, when you show up and say, I know who I am, I know what I'm worth, I know what I value, I know what I want to experience, then you start having those experiences, you start having those relationships, and it comes back around to you knowing and feeling yourself in a different way within the context of those relationships. So for example, if you show up in a relationship, like you become more self-aware, start from the beginning, and you have this awareness, I value honesty, and I'm going to be more honest. And then you show up and you're honest about yourself and who you want and what you want in a relationship. That honesty has you come into a relationship with people who are honest by default, right? And they are a match for what you are wanting, needing, deserving in relationships, what you're asking for also. That match occurs, and then all of a sudden you get to see really how honest you are, right? And you get to also become more honest. You get to see how your honesty is a sign of other things. It's a sign of integrity. It's a sign of vulnerability. You can be more vulnerable because you're being honest with honest people, and all of a sudden you aren't as closed off as you thought you were. You really are very open. You have the capacity for intimacy and depth and deep connection, belonging, and in a way that you'd never experienced before. But that's because you're in a different setup altogether. So let's go deeper with that. We've got Three of Swords, equivalent Three of Swords, sadness and isolation upside down. Yeah, oh nice. Major Arcana number 2, listen, the equivalent of the High Priestess. We have got the Six of Cups upside down with simply love. And we've got the Seven of Wands with choose your battles. Always very, very good advice. So, sadness and isolation is talking about the past and where you've been and where you might still be. But it's talking about having predominantly in your life experienced the opposite of this energy, having experienced that you need to limit yourself, that you need to keep that bigger, brighter, truer part of yourself hidden to some degree, in some ways, in order to protect it, in order to protect yourself, in order maybe to protect a relationship, and so on and so forth. It's their external considerations. They're not really about who you are and what you want and needed in a relationship. It was much more about kind of instrumental how to deal with the kind of relationship that you did have, that you did find, that you were participating in. Now, the sadness comes from the isolation. It creates a certain degree of isolation around your true self. But the high priestess is talking about you being in a different time at this time in your life. You're not where you used to be. Things are not working the way that they used to. And so you have the capacity, you have the what would be the word? The potential for a different kind and a different way of relating now and at this time moving forward. And if you can see in her eyes, yeah, you have to get real up close and personal. Her eyes are green. Her eyes are green. I'm not sure it's coming up, but yeah, I'm seeing it as green anyway. And that's the heart. It's like seeing with the heart, seeing with love, as opposed to seeing with the fears and the patterns and the conditionings and all of those issues. It's not a matter of wanting to continue a relationship, wanting to, what's the word? Wanting to fit in, wanting to be validated, wanting some external outcome, right? Being dependent on the outcome. It's about you and who you really are and your basic and fundamental ability to love. You are someone who loves a lot. You are someone who loves deeply. You are someone who needs to be loved a lot and someone who needs to be loved deeply. And we see here a father and son, and it's very just basic. It's basic love. It's unconditional love. It's not even about romance or any of those relational games. It's just about the presence of unconditional love. At a fundamental level, you're someone who needs to experience simplicity in giving and receiving unconditional love. And that's exactly what was described here. It was conditional. They'll love me if I respond like this. They'll love me if I act like that. They will love me if I give this. They'll love me if I take that, and so on and so forth. So again, all of those conditions. But with the high priestess here, I really do feel like Spirit is saying it's in the air for you. It's in these times for you where you can move from that and into something you've not had before. But in order to turn this card right side up, in order to access that unconditional love and those unconditional loving... What's that? I got so tired there. I could not continue. Wow. Okay, it's been a real burden. It's been a real burden, and it's been really, really difficult to be in this energy. And I was like, let me move on for the messages. But no, we need to dwell on this. And it's not this way. I started looking at it this way, and you're coming out of it and everything. That's all good and well. But right now, and at least for a little bit, and certainly a part of yourself is still in this. You still have these vestiges of the past and how it was. And to some degree, you think that all relationships are like that they're going to be conditional, that you're going to have to be in a certain way, do things in a certain way, participate in a certain way to be able to get the love that you want, that you need, that you deserve. And Spirit is saying, if you think about it, that's really sad. That's really sad to think that we have to live up to external conditions in order to give and receive love, which is such a fundamental need in general, and especially for you. Here, there's even a need that you have for relating. You have a need for connection. You have a need for belonging. And believe in yourself is coming back in a different way to say, believe that you can have unconditional love by being yourself, even in who you are. And Spirit is saying, understand that to have unconditional love, you have to stand in you. Because if you're standing in any degree of inauthenticity, then that's what's being loved and not you. And sometimes it's not even about the other people. It's about how we choose to show up, because they would love the true version of ourselves, but we also have to be able to show that. And when we can show up, that's also the new beginnings. It shows up in response to us showing up, right? We give it and it's given back to us. We receive it. We give, they give. We show up and the relationship, that level of connections shows up. And so back to the message, choose your battles. What do you want more, right? If you want this kind of love, if you want unconditional love in your life, and especially if you want to be loving unconditionally, giving unconditionally, be receiving unconditionally, then you first need to embody that and then find the match or not. But it goes into two ways. There's two ways about this. You can either not show up fully, truly, authentically as you really are, and therefore not get that kind of love, or you can show up as you truly are and still not get that kind of love, because then it's not about you, it's about the other person, the places, the spaces, all of those things. It has nothing to do with you. But either way, you have to choose not to settle for that. So you have to choose within you and also with other people for you not to settle for less than the love that you want, need, and deserve. Now it's showing up with this energy of the right side up. Seven of Wands, right side up. So when I read cards and it's like that, it's mostly about people, places, and things in your life. So it's mostly going to be about not settling for less than you truly want, need, and deserve beyond you, outside of you, in the world around you, in relationships, in engagements, in interactions, in situations, right? However you're showing up, it's for you to not accept that. Not accept anything less than what you want, need, and deserve when it comes to love. You have the right to choose how you want to be loved and also how you want to love others, right? It has to work for you on both sides. So my love, that being said, let's keep going. We've got reparenting yourself. Commitment. Oh, beautiful. And finally we have love. Yay. Okay. It's actually late at night, or later at night, so it shouldn't be the case, but my allergies are acting up. And I feel like it's in the context of the reading. There's allergies here. Spirit is saying, like, it's like, you know how an allergy is a reaction to something in the environment? It's like you would have that kind of reaction to yourself, to a love that is imbalanced or unmatched or conditional, right? Anything less than unconditional love, when it shows up conditional, it's like you having an allergic reaction to that. And reparenting yourself is talking about you learning to notice when your feelings get hurt, when your heart especially get hurt, when people are going against your values, things that you love and value about yourself or in the world, and people are going against that. When your things that you're focusing on are getting disparaged, what's important to you, what's relevant to you is not being honored or is not being met, then that's how you can know that you're in the presence of conditional love. You're not being heard, you're not being respected, you're not being appreciated where they know the correct value, you are not being cherished, you're not being cared for, you're not allowed, or you're not received in you giving care, you giving respect. You know, I remember someone once telling me, like, I did something wrong and I apologized to them from my heart and just effusively, and they were like, you're too sorry. So I'm not even allowed to apologize with the flow of my heart, right? It's like that. They couldn't match that. They couldn't handle that. It was about them. But it's those kinds of things. You have to be aware of that. And you have to change how you function on the inside to where you grow kind of allergic to it, but especially intolerant of it, that you don't tolerate it. There's a difference between allowing for something to be, like saying, oh, this is how this person is. There's a difference between accepting it. I understand that this is how this person is. It is what it is. It's okay. And there's a difference between then embracing it. Okay, I'm going to participate in it. I'm going to keep going. You know, I was just thinking about it today. People can be any kind of way that they want. They can believe whatever they want. I was thinking about cheating and how I had a friend that I stopped being friends with because our relationship kind of soured, and there were some events, but I realized that the thing that really soured the relationship is because I realized that they were cheating on their partner, and very um unabashedly, unashamedly, and they were justifying it and all this stuff, and they were scheming. It was just not me. It's not me. Like, again, I don't do cheating. Not in myself, not in other people. I don't tolerate it. And that's when I thought, it's people can choose whatever they want for themselves, but they don't have to do it next to me. They can be however, show up however, that's fine. It doesn't have to be next to me. And that's the same kind of message. There's a difference between control, there's a difference between judgment, there's a difference between rejection, and there's a difference between self-awareness. And all of those have their place in terms of recognizing how you're relating. But you don't have to assume that you are being petty when there's something that you don't want to tolerate. It's like me being assuming that I'm being petty because I'm having an allergic reaction to the pollen. No, that's how I'm built. At least right now. That's how I function right now, and that's what's true for me right now. And I need to respond to that. I got to close the window. I got to take my medication and so on and so forth. So it's like an alarm bell. It's the same notion as the red flags. To learn to believe in the red flags, but especially to work on yourself so that you don't let those red flags pass because you are believing something about yourself, something negative about yourself, that you're allowing to circumvent what you know about the person or the situation, what you know and recognize as a mismatch. At a basic level, it's like this thing about judgment. I'm all for judgment. Judgment is this doesn't work for me. There might not be an explanation, but it's a judgment call. This doesn't work for me. This is not good for me. This is not loving of me. All of those things are judgment calls. But when we start judging other people, you're not good enough. You're this, you're that. That's not in alignment, right? And that's not of love. So that's that kind of discernment. You got to find where the boundaries are. Then with commitment here, this is Spirit saying, believe with all your heart and all your soul on all that you are, that you can find this match. It's not even a matter of Spirit saying you're going to. That's not even in the realm. When we're saying we're going to, we can go into these aspects of outcome control and fear and doubt, masquerading under another under the guise of faith and hope. It's not that. It's not control. Spirit is saying just the possibility. If you believed in the possibility, you would know it would happen for you. You would come into faith. You would come into hope and so on. And so what we're speaking to right now is more a disillusionment. You have got to look at yourself very honestly and see how you have been shaped and molded and influenced by past experiences to deselect some form of the unconditional love concept or reality that you want to have and to experience, right? So it can be all together. There's no such thing as unconditional love. There are people who believe that, and maybe subconsciously you believe that, right? Or you feel like your life has shown you that that's the case. So that could be one thing. It could also be an aspect. There's no unconditional love with men. There's no unconditional love with women. There's no unconditional love for me. There's no trust in unconditional love, right? Or there can be unconditional love without trust. I'm going to have the unconditional love, but I'm not going to trust the other person. It's like that. Check your beliefs to make sure that you're fully committed to the possibility of it existing, and especially existing for you. That is key. And then finally, we have love. Now, this is talking about how love is an energy and you're a being of love. And so this is Spirit talking about and bringing through a message of you being fully at home and aligned with you and how you love. Get to know really well and really clearly what your love is made of. Now, again, there are many levels to this. There's conception, right? Those higher order levels of principles, for example, when it comes to love. Like I was saying, cheating. I don't do cheating. For me, cheating isn't a part of love. And that includes friendship. Actually, it includes friendship. Cheating is not a part of my conception of friendships. And then there's values, right? There's what you think is important in relationships and what is relevant to you. Then there are your beliefs, there are your ideas about relationship and how relationships make sense to you, how you interpret what things that go on in a relationship, right? Like someone I saw once, he showed me I showed up with flowers, he's cheating on me. That's an interpretation. All of those things. And then approaches, dispositions, how do you communicate, all of these things. And again, it's not a matter of what is the absolute best way to do that. It can be on some level, it can be part of the quote unquote answer, it can be part of what you arrive at, but mostly it's about you. How do you want to do this? How do you want to go through the experience of love with another person? How do you want to give and receive love? And again, it's going to be at all those levels. What are your big ideas about love, all down to the small things, like a love language? How do you like to give love? How do you like to show love? How do you like to be shown love? All of those things. And it doesn't mean that, again, outcome independence, it doesn't mean that it has to happen exactly in this way. But what Spirit is saying is for you to know so that you can then use it as a reference as you're moving through experiences. And again, we're talking about unconditional love, and it showed up a lot in the notion of romance, but it is in all kinds of relationships, right? So how do you want to love a friend? How do you want to love in a romance? How do you want to love a family member? And all of those aspects, you have to know. You have to know what's true for you so that you can then experience it in the world, and especially so you can be aware of when that experience itself is missing or limited or almost there, right? Whatever it is, wherever you are, it's about knowing the truth. So my love, that was the reading, and a takeaways. Keep it simple. Again, simply love, right? And it says, old souls use words very sparingly, except of course for I love, thank you, wow, now, and cool. Wow, I love you now, the universe. P.S., which sounds much better than wow, now I love you. Sequence is important. Yeah, first things first. Get your house in order. And if you get your house in order when it comes to love and your relationship to love, and especially your relationship to unconditional love, you're going to find it so much more simple to then externalize that relationship. And again, in the relationships that you already are in new relationships that are going to be coming in, you're going to be able to keep clarity and to know how to proceed in a much more truthful and empowered way. So my love, that was the reading. Thank you for watching. Yay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to continue this into a healing over on my Patreon. Excited to see where this is going to go. Sending you lots of love, wishing you all the best, and I'll be seeing you around. Bye.